Is Trump sacrificing Taiwan? China gives chilling warning to Trump's new Secretary of State, and the Philippines is attacked again. That and more on this week's China News headlines. Welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. A reminder that we're now in Phase 2 of Operation Honeypot. Please watch this video to the end, like and leave a comment with the Honeypot emoji, and I'll have more on Operation Honeypot at the end of this video, so stay tuned. The CEO of Volkswagen says that he's talking to the company's Chinese partners about their plans to expand into Europe, with the company apparently open to Chinese rivals taking over excess production lines in Europe as it scales back production in the face of reduced demand for European cars. Reduced demand, which was caused by China flooding the European market with cheap, state-subsidized Chinese electric vehicles. Yes, Volkswagen is just that dumb. The European Union has fought back against the tide of Chinese EVs with tariffs, so this is win-win for China. Chinese companies get to skirt around tariffs by manufacturing in Europe, allowing them to keep selling cheap Chinese EVs and compete even harder against established German car brands, putting even more factories out of business, which they can then snatch up, just like they're snatching up unused VW factories right now. Did I say Volkswagen was dumb? I meant phenomenally, mind-bogglingly stupid. The Chinese Communist Party is in talks with the European Union to reach a deal over the EU's tariffs. Some European countries, including Germany, Hungary, and Spain, are opposed to the tariffs, at least in part. But if Chinese automakers can establish car factories in Europe, it basically won't matter how the talks turn out. But this is very sad to think Volkswagen, working with a totalitarian ethno-state that's waging genocide and threatening military invasion of its neighbors? That's a stain on the company's good history. Oh wait, never mind. China may be ramping up its undersea cable sabotage. China made a splash in December by severing Baltic Sea internet cables. Now, Newsweek has uncovered 2 Chinese patents for quickly and cost-effectively severing these cables. They say it's for if the cables need to be cut off in some emergency situations. Emergency situations like, oh no, Taiwan has access to the internet. The patents come from 2009 and 2020, respectively, so this is something China's been working on for a long time, though both applications were dropped or turned down for reasons that are unclear, according to records. And in news that is in no way related whatsoever, did China just try to cut Taiwanese cables again? Early last Wednesday, authorities in Taipei said that 2 undersea cables linking Taiwan to the Matsu Islands near mainland China went offline. This comes after a different cable went dark earlier this month, which happened right after a Chinese ship crisscrossed the area. After further investigation, it appears that the current disconnect was just due to natural deterioration, and backup communications were activated to resolve the issue. But this only underscores how important it is for Taiwan and other countries to be on high alert, given recent tensions and incidents and patents. And after the break, China gives a chilling warning to Marco Rubio. Welcome back. President Trump says that he would rather not put tariffs on China, but is maintaining the threat. On the campaign trail, Trump threatened to impose tariffs of 60% on Chinese exports to the U.S. And after taking office last week, he said tariffs of 10% could begin as soon as February 1st. Trump was asked by the media if he could come to an agreement on Taiwan and trade with Beijing. His response?
No, I can do that because we have something that they want. We have one very big power over China, and that's tariffs. And they don't want them, and I'd rather not have to use it. But it's a tremendous power over China.
Given that China is in terrible economic shape, that's true. Trump has said he gets along well with Xi and wants to work with China to solve some problems. So I will be keeping a very close eye on this situation. But it's not just China Trump is proposing tariffs on. He's also proposing tariffs on China, or as the rest of the world calls it, Taiwan. Trump is proposing putting tariffs on Taiwanese semiconductors. Taiwan makes some of the most advanced semiconductors in the world. But he wants that to come back to the U.S.
The only way you'll get out of this is to build your plant. If you want to stop paying the taxes or the tariffs, you have to build your plant right here in America.
This has left many concerned that Trump is no supporter of Taiwan, especially in the face of the very real threat of invasion from the Chinese Communist Party. Trump has been aloof about whether he would defend Taiwan.
The U.S. help defend Taiwan if it means going to war with China?
Well, I don't want to say it because if I'm in the position of president, I don't want to say what I'm thinking. You know, if I answer that question, it'll put me in a very bad negotiating position.
In an interview with Bloomberg Businessweek, Trump said, Taiwan should pay us for defense. You know, we're no different than an insurance company. I actually did a full episode about whether or not Trump would defend Taiwan exclusively for our new website, ChinaUncensored.tv. I'll have a link below and at the end. But what's going on with these semiconductor tariffs? One more cynical explanation is that Elon Musk, who is now in Trump's inner circle, has close business dealings with the Chinese Communist Party and is convincing Trump to abandon Taiwan. Another explanation is it is in America's strategic interests to make the most advanced semiconductors in the world, once again. And this might put pressure on Taiwan to take its own defense more seriously, especially in the wake of Taiwan's pro-Beijing legislature massively slashing the defense budget. In any event, these types of advanced semiconductor factories are extremely expensive and time-consuming to even build. And considering during the height of the pandemic, it took the U.S. more than half a year to start building factories to make simple masks, I wouldn't hold my breath for semiconductors. I'd hold my breath because of all the nasty bacteria that's everywhere and we don't have good masks. Meanwhile, China's foreign minister has told Marco Rubio to act accordingly. As a Florida senator, Rubio took a very harsh stance against the CCP. And now as Secretary of State, he's able to join with other China hawks in the administration to maintain and toughen Washington's position against Beijing. So it's pretty understandable why China is worried. Rubio, in his phone call with Wang Yi, reiterated that the U.S. partnership with China would be based on putting American citizens' interests first. Wait, talks where actual boundaries were set and not just, okay, we're just going to give you another chance, but 437th chance is definitely the last. I'm speechless. He also reiterated the White House's concerns over Taiwan and the South China Sea, even though Rubio also said the U.S. does not support Taiwan independence. But Wang's response was telling. Most headlines have translated it as act accordingly, but there are other possible translations.
In the last paragraph of the Chinese readout, there's a phrase that says 好自为之, which essentially means behave yourself accordingly. It's a negative term and a threat. But in Western media translation, as well as its English versions, it's been toned down to things like act accordingly or make the right decision. When the actual meaning is, if you don't listen to me, you will suffer the consequences of your action. This lost in translation context is deliberate. It tells us the CCP will continue to act as a bully and to take advantage of the US to not play nice.
So he's saying, don't act up or you'll be sorry. Also, please don't slap us with tariffs. Okay, thanks, bye. That might put a damper on Trump's plans to reach a deal with China without tariffs, but so could other things, like even more Chinese aggression in the South China Sea, which is totally unsurprising. The Philippines stopped a research survey in disputed waters due to Chinese harassment. Last Saturday, the Philippine Coast Guard said that 3 Chinese Coast Guard vessels and 4 smaller Chinese boats made aggressive maneuvers near the disputed island of Thitu against 2 small boats belonging to the Philippine Bureau of Fisheries. They also said a Chinese naval helicopter flew overhead at an unsafe altitude. So, like the X-rated version of RoboCop, a bit overkill. The 2 Filipino boats were in the area collecting sand samples from the nearby Sandy Cay. But China said they owned it and drove them away. For science. More protests are brewing inside China, this time over a program to save on drug costs. The uproar is over the quality, or lack thereof, of Chinese-made drugs. Yes, even in China, made in China's got a bad rap. Chinese officials have been working to improve the country's healthcare sector, especially given the rapidly aging population. One of the goals of that campaign, which started in 2018, is to lower drug costs. It's encouraged a lot of competition among producers and has largely lowered costs, but it also drove away some foreign pharmaceuticals. Naturally, that resulted in a wider availability of more affordable domestic drugs. But the quality is suffering, which is saying something when American pharmaceutical companies are seen as the positive alternative. According to one X-Post, a prominent Shanghai surgeon and a Beijing cardiologist pointed to anesthetics that don't put patients to sleep and blood pressure medication that failed to regulate, among other problem products. A former editor of a leading online health platform even went so far as to accuse domestic pharmaceuticals of fraud, and foreign-made drugs are in short supply. Li Xiang, a doctor from northeastern China, shared a story about how one of her family members needed an imported drug that was no longer available in public hospitals. But when she tried to contact a representative for the manufacturer, she was told the drug was out of stock. The Chinese Communist Party has defended itself by saying there is no ban on imports of foreign medication, and foreign-made medication is available in private clinics. The problem is that public hospitals account for up to 70% of China's drug market, and a good chunk of their other drug market is all the fentanyl they send to the US. And an update on Operation Honeypot. You guys are blowing me away. If you haven't seen it, I released a special bonus episode yesterday where I talked about the results of YouTube's investigation into itself and took a fun little side trip to Xinjiang. Check that out if YouTube didn't recommend it to you for some reason. But speaking of notifications, some of you are actually seeing them again, like Rave. Thanks, Rave. And Jordan Prince. Thanks for the contribution, Jordan. Many of you also enjoyed my state-sponsored trip to China in that video. St. John of Gelato, I hope you have fun on your vacation. Tell the MSS I say hi. Maybe, please, I don't know what you mean. I wasn't giving the middle finger to anyone. I was just thanking YouTube for their kind guidance on what kind of videos I should make. And giggin' big, if I wanted more Chinese YouTube censorship, I would change the name of this channel to China Censored, or China Ceiling Design. And Thomas Johnson, of course you want to watch Pro CCB videos. We all want to watch those. Thanks, YouTube. So remember, we're in phase 2 of Operation Honeypot now, which means your mission is to click on any China Uncensored videos you see in your recommendations, watch my videos all the way to the end, and like and comment on them with a honeypot emoji. I'm sure YouTube loves all the engagement I'm getting. And don't forget to click here to see the website exclusive about whether Trump will defend Taiwan. Thanks for watching. I'm Chris Chappell. Let the honey flow.